Hello, welcome. Today is an absolutely spectacular, gorgeous day in Greenwich, and I am thrilled to be on with Roberto Alves, Mayor of Danbury, but also Chair of the Democratic Committee here in Connecticut. Welcome, Roberto.
Hello, how are you? It is also a beautiful and wonderful day up here in Danbury as well.
It's gorgeous. This is some of the best weather we have in New England. So, a little bit of Roberto's background. His mom is Brazilian, his dad is Portuguese. Both of them worked multiple jobs to keep the family going, to teach their children, and they were incredibly active in their community. And a lot of this really informed what Roberto has done in his life. So, Roberto, talk to me a little bit about being mayor of Danbury.
Oh, it's exciting. It's been the greatest honor of my life. I'm 41 years old and I've had a couple other jobs, but primarily before this, I was a technical sales engineer for a company out here for just over a decade, 12 years. But I always try to figure ways to give back to my communities, incredibly involved civically and through our nonprofits, always doing something to give back. And the opportunity to give back through politics came in. I ran for council and then from that for mayor. And it's been an incredible journey. There's challenges running a municipality. We have a rather large municipality, not the biggest in the state, but we're the seventh largest. We have, just about 90,000 residents here. We have a budget of
Big town.
$330 million. So it's a serious organization, a business entity that we're running here as well. And I take great pride that for the last year and a half, we've been doing it responsibly.
That's really great. Okay, so tell me about a couple of the initiatives that you've taken that have worked well, and maybe after that, some things that may not have gone so well. Tell me about the good stuff to start with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When we came in, the city of Danbury was facing some financial crises. And
Mm,
I don't say that lightly. We were behind years on our audits, and that's never okay. In the public sector, heads would roll, boards would absolutely do something about it. And we came in as new leadership. And we got to work. We allocated resources. We rate tracked what our department heads were doing to make sure they're working in the most efficient capacity to really get ourselves out of that hole. We were on the tier one for MFAC in the state. And MFAC is a Municipal Finance Audit Committee where we have
okay.
to go back and report on
Yeah.
everything we were doing. And that is the first tier before you get under a serious financial watch where some of our larger cities have fallen under, and even some smaller municipalities. I knew we were going to do everything we could to get out of that. I
Mm,
with consultants, we partnered with an accounting firm, CLA, brought them in internally to come in and project manage, but really find out where our opportunity areas were. Right track, fully staffed our finance team that hadn't been fully
great.
staffed in over a decade, and got out of that and continue to. We completed the 23 audit. We are on track to complete the 24 audit, which is late. All things we inherited, and we'll get out and back on track. We estimate by February of 2026, and we will be able to get off of these financial watches. Our credit
It's
ratings have
great.
been reinstated. We are stable. We sold some notes just a couple months ago, and on the rolling 12-month calendar, we're the second lowest rate on that.
Wow.
Right. And that's it's the business side of it. Well, government,
Yeah.
I'm big on saying it's not a business, but there's a lot of things that are business like where you can bring in those best practices from the private sector. And your listeners in Greenwich, they know all about what I'm talking about here.
Hmm.
Took that mindset into Danbury, and we're doing it really well. We're excited about where we are heading. And the biggest challenge that I face, Trevor, here to me, it's the fact that coming from the private sector, where when you have a good idea, you can just move forward with it faster. There are
Hmm.
systems in place in government to keep you from doing that. And while I butted my head at first with the inability to move as fast as I wanted, I quickly understood that those safeguards are there for a reason. While we're
Hmm.
the
Slows
best,
you down.
sorry, yeah, right. For a good reason,
Hmm.
because maybe you have somebody who doesn't have that business mind or somebody who the best interests aren't there or the ideas aren't good for a community. You don't want them to be able to move with that kind of speed there. So those safeguards are really good for all of us. But there's things I want to do and do a little bit faster. We have
Yeah.
rising crime. That's something that people talk about all the time, and we should go to data to see if those are true or not. In Danbury, there were slight upticks, and I believe
Mm.
our police force was woefully understaffed. We came in and increased our police department both years that I've been here, and increased our table
Great.
organization to be able to hire more police officers. I wish I could do more at once. I wish I could hire more police officers and really get to where I need to go in the snap of a finger. But I understand that we have to be responsible to our taxpayers on how we do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or police officers.
So this is sort of a point here we spoke of just before the show started, but you're not a king, right? You're the mayor. And there's a democratic, wraparound here that keeps things slow, but you have to be really, aware of your taxpayers, and you've saved them some money by having a lower note rate, and good things here. But right, you are really interested in the democratic process, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. We have a 21-person city council. We work in a collaboration with our city council president to make sure the council's informed of the decisions we're making. We got their input on how we do it. I've been lucky to have bipartisan support on just about every vote. I can probably count on one, at the most two hands, how many votes out of the probably hundreds at this point haven't been bipartisan here in our city. In
That's
fact,
impressive.
yeah, in our budget, usually the most partisan votes into communities
Yeah,
pass both years with bipartisan support, and that's important to me.
that is great. It's really great. Okay, tell me something that may not have gone so well that you'd like to change, or maybe a new initiative, or both.
Well, it's a new initiative, and it kind of it didn't go well. It's not that it didn't go well the first time we introduced it, but I'm looking for operational efficiencies across our organization, across
Hmm.
our city,
Great.
and one of them that we really want to look at is the fact that we have 2-year elections here. We're one of the
Hmm.
only remaining cities. There's a couple, two more that have 2-year elections, and it's really hard to manage that. When we proposed it at first, we didn't put it out to vote. I just didn't get enough traction on it. I think that's just something that's
Hmm.
great for the city. Um, Selfishly, it wasn't for me. I introduced the idea and the conversation about it last year, and I proposed that we do something about it to start in 2027, which would
Hmm.
I'd have to win a re-election this year. I'm currently running for office, and I'd have to run again and win again before there was any personal gain for me. So it was never about me. It wasn't a selfish motivation. It was about the city. I feel anybody, any party, when you get into a city this large now, right, where we're getting close to 100,000 residents and
Big.
a budget of $330 million, you need more time to actually do the operations of the city, not just a year and 3 months, and all of a sudden you're campaigning again. I,
Campaigning is an incredible amount of time, a huge commitment, and it takes a lot of your attention away. So I understand that. And I think it's a very smart idea, and mayors should have 4 years. You need that time.
But it's up to the public, right? I didn't
Yes.
say I didn't. It's not an executive order. It's anything I was pushing on anybody. It's a conversation I wanted to have. It,
Hmm.
not that it could have went better. It's just we're going to execute it a little bit different next time. We want to have more community dialogue around it, and we've been doing great at building community. Community is so important to me, and your show is based around that relationships. Uh,
Hmm.
Now you
Exactly.
see Democrats, Republicans, people all over the country finally getting politics where it should be, right? Coming on these interviews, these shows, going creating
Hmm.
town hall events where they go and talk to the public. We've been doing that. Last year alone, we did 9 town halls here in Danbury.
Wow.
Right. And I'm incredibly proud of that. There's maybe one town hall in the last 20 years before we got here, 25 years.
Hmm.
We did 9, and we made a commitment to double that this year. I have 2 this week, and this will probably be my, I think, eighth or ninth now for the
Wow.
year.
How are they well attended? Do people
Yeah,
show
so
up?
they fluctuate. And I'll be
Uh-huh.
honest. I've had town halls
Uh-huh.
where we've had 4 or 5 people. I've had town halls where we've had 70 people plus.
Okay.
Uh,
And
but we have
what
them
are
nonetheless.
what are the questions people tend to ask you? What are the biggest top concerns for your
Yeah.
electorate?
And it's funny, I can go in and kind of know, right? It's in any municipality, it's the condition of my roads, it's public safety, how
Hmm.
are my schools, and are you going to raise my taxes again? And then every once in a while, you'll get something that comes outside of those 3 little areas, but
Hmm.
primarily it's that. So we have conversations. We learn from people. We get different suggestions on how to handle things. And I'll be honest, sometimes there's people who are there to yell at me, or there's people there who are there to
Mm.
compliment me. But at the end, they leave that town hall with the sense of community because we listened to them. What's
Good.
important to me at our
We
town
have
hall, Trevor?
we have our fire engines going by. Speaking of community, we have to take care of our
Oh,
people.
I love it. No, that's great.
Right?
That's your
That's
tax
what
dollars at work,
tax
Greenwich.
dollars at work.
Tax dollars at
Exactly. I
work.
love that.
Um,
Um,
what
so what I'm loving and what I'm hearing, Roberto, is you are modeling what it looks like to be a Democratic mayor in a town where you're asking for people to be part of the process, that you want to find out how they feel and what's important to them. This is not top down executive order stuff, right? You are literally rolling your sleeves up and going, what can we do? How can we help you?
That's exactly what we're doing. When we came into office, we created a mayor's advisory committee, and we had over 200 people apply. We narrowed it down to about 85, and we
Um,
broke it down to 7 subgroups. Arts and culture, public safety, education, recreation, and we met with them. We workshopped it for over 3 months. They
love
had
it.
small groups. They presented to the whole group their ideas. We implemented a lot of those items. Couldn't work all of them, but the community has always been a part of what we're doing. I wanted to make government
Mhm.
about the people, and I'm proud of that, and we'll continue to do it.
Super fabulous. I hope everybody votes for Mayor Alves. Now, next question. You are now the chairman of the Democratic Committee here in Connecticut. Thank you to Nancy DiNardo for her years of service. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. We love her. And now you're taking on this mantle, which is quite a big one. Do you have a vision? What can you tell us that you're looking forward to be doing?
That's great. And thank you to Nancy. She's been a dear friend. I served as treasurer for the state party under her. I'm actually going to talk to her this week. We try to stay in touch as much as we can as well. I appreciate her guidance. Uh, Honestly, it's a lot of what we're doing here in Danbury. It's a pragmatic approach. I feel that the Democratic Party has values that they need to continue to share and not let other voices drown us out. And the governor and I have a lot of the similar philosophies on certain areas, and that's why he asked me to take this on. And it was our approach and how we did things in Danbury. Danbury was, before me, 22 years of Republican leadership here. We came in and won multiple boards, multiple commissions in the mayor's office,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
because we were divisive, but because we were inclusive. Not because our values were that different, but because we showed folks that our approach may just be a little bit better. And the business side of it, we're taking that across the state. And the one thing that I'm really proud of is that building the community, what we did with the town
Mhm.
halls in Danbury, we are doing it from the state party perspective. We are doing listening tours, roundtable discussions
Great.
across our state. I'm doing 1 in every congressional district, 2 in the larger congressional districts. I'm going to go back around and do it,
Mhm,
welcoming
mhm.
everybody. On top of that, sitting with Democratic leaders in your neighborhoods, your DTC chair folks, your state central committee members, folks who make up the
Great.
mechanism, the machine, if you'd say, of the Democratic Party. And I'm going to them, not waiting for them to come to us. I've been in dining rooms, living rooms, kitchen tables, community rooms. I've done meetings with 5 people, 20 people, 30 people, listening tours with 50 plus. I am exhausting my calendar all over the state
Mm,
to listen to folks, not tell them what's going on, but really truly have conversations. And that's one of our goals there, because I do believe change comes from the bottom up. I do believe the opportunity to
agreed.
reshape what's going on comes from the bottom up and not the top down. Folks across the state and across the country are looking at the Democratic Party, asking, "Well, who's our leader right now? What's our message?" And I'm here to tell them that we're all part of that leadership. We're all part of that messaging. We have great leaders in Connecticut. We're lucky to have, Governor Lamont from
Mhm,
Greenwich, right, who leads with
mhm.
that pragmatic approach. Uh, Confrontational only if he needs to be because he's about getting the job done. Then we also have, Senator Murphy and Senator Blumenthal, who
Got some rock stars out there.
are firewalls, are
Yeah.
firebrand, ready to punch when they need a
And
punch.
Jim Himes. Oh my goodness.
And nothing against my Congresswoman, Johanna Hayes, who's
Oh,
absolutely
Johanna.
amazing. But I have a great relationship with Congressman Himes. I know he's somebody I can text and call
Hmm.
for advice or, for anything, who is great. You guys are so lucky to have. You guys are very powerful in Greenwich. Now to think about it, you have granted, you have a senator, a
Thank
congressperson,
you.
and a governor. All right, I'm gonna get the real estate books out there. Maybe when I'm
You
done
got
here,
to come
I'll
down
go
and
down
talk to
there.
our
Yeah.
DTC. I'm pretty sure Christina Downey would love to have you show up and give
Uh,
us a little pep talk and ask some questions.
I
Yeah,
love
no, we do. We're a cohesive group. We work hard, and again, back to that messaging. And I think this is something we discussed just before the show started. But we, as a party, care about humanity.
Mm.
about the value of life, about people being taken care of. I just I see cruelty, literally. People who are disabled are not going to get the services they need. Mental health. I'm a mental health professional. We're cutting. We got rid of a suicide hotline for LGBTQ plus people. It's, to me, the cruelty is mind boggling, and I don't understand it. So I'm really hoping we are able to boil that message down and be able to tell people this is who we are. What do you think of that?
I agree with you. And we got to out there and have honest conversations with people. With some of the decisions being made in Washington, D.C. at the end of the day, and it's harsh to say and hard to hear, but it's the truth. People are going to die. And who are we if we don't stand up for them?
People are good.
If we don't come up and band together on this, and this shouldn't be about Republican or Democrats right now. And I'm the Democratic Party chair, but I'm telling you that it's the Democratic Party that's sitting there for morals and humanity. And when you look at these cuts, and you just talked about folks with disabilities, suicide hotlines, it goes so much more than that. There's real cuts to the DOJ. There are real cuts to programs that are going to impact everybody. And you may not think about it, and your listeners here in Greenwich, and hear me out on this, when we are going to cut, this federal government cut heating and fuel assistance for the most needy, when they want to cut 25% just off the top on how they fund fair housing, Section 8 housing, and then cut even more on top of that, there's going to be real impacts on all communities across our country for that. I was talking to our police chief about this because what we do know is what's going to happen if these things occur, crime will go up.
Of
That will
course.
impact people. So those are very real challenges. I'm not saying that efficiencies can't be found in government agencies.
Right.
They 100% can be found, and they
Yes.
need to be found. And we need to be okay with saying that. We can't shy away and say that folks aren't wrong about what they're saying. But we got to understand is that there's a way to approach this. We got to be gradual in how we do things, and it can't just be about cutting. We can't just cut Medicare. We can't cut Medicaid. We can't cut, certainly can't cut Social Security, but we can't cut housing assistance. We can't cut the heating and fuel because of the real impacts they're going to have on communities across the board. We can't cut Head Start, right? You have hundreds and
Oh, it's
hundreds of families,
unbelievable.
thousands of families across our state that rely on that, hundreds in Connecticut, that once you cut Head Start, what are they going to do because they can't afford to put their children in preschool education?
It
Let's
can't
not,
work.
right? They can't work. Well,
Can't
it's
pay their bills.
Head Start's a proven program
Hmm.
that gives kids success in their later years in education, right? They're going. It's Head Start for a reason. They're giving them a head start when they get into
We
kindergarten.
have
Kids won't have
really good research on this, longitudinal, clear research.
the
The
data is
earlier you
there,
get, the data is there, and cutting that off kneecaps the next generation. And guess who's going to take care of you as you get older?
right?
Think about that.
They're
So
going to be
you're
there service.
making it harder for these people who need to be growing up, getting the education they need, having jobs, and paying into Social Security, et cetera. So any of us, my age, et cetera, you need to be thinking about what you're doing when you're cutting education and Head Start.
Yeah. Sure. And again, there's just so many more impacts on that. You said it right before, and I'm sorry I cut you off. I apologize for that. It's you talked about people are going to be leaving the workforce, or they're going to be setting up illegal daycares where kids are going to get hurt. There's so many things that are going to happen in every one of these cuts when we look at it. Another one that we really have to figure out immigration in this country. It's not a popular
Yes,
topic, and I understand that, but let's talk about an uncomfortable and popular topic for a second. Our country has always depended on cheap labor, all right? It's not good.
absolutely.
We need to figure something out about it. I grew up undocumented in this country.
Mm,
Right. My parents came on a tourist visa. They overstayed that tourist visa to give my sister and I a better life. In that
yes,
time, they pay their taxes. They got legalized. They became business owners. Then there's my father passed away a couple years ago. My mother is a CNA. They own their own home. My sister was the first in our family to graduate college. They got their version
amazing.
of American dream because they were given a chance to do so.
Yeah.
But they did come in here undocumented, and we invest in those kids. I am so proud to be an American. I'm sitting here in
Mm,
American flag. My American flag lapel pin is the
yes.
first thing I put on my suit every day, right? Because
Hmm.
and I was formerly undocumented. But I have pride because this country has given me everything, and most of us feel this way. We need to do something about that. And if we just find a way to kick everybody out, right, which is unfeasible, Connecticut has
It's not going to work.
8,000 open jobs right now.
It's huge. As
82,000.
82,000 open jobs.
It's estimated that the undocumented population in Connecticut holds 1 in 6 jobs currently.
Wow.
So what happens when they're
You
not here?
take away our workforce.
We already can't we already can't fill 82,000 jobs.
Yeah.
There's jobs out there for the willing and able to go and do.
Hmm.
So what do we do then? What do
It's
we,
mind-boggling. It'll shrink our economy,
it
right? So
absolutely will shrink our
less
economy.
tax dollars. And by the way, with less federal dollars coming in, your taxes are going to have to go up to support some of these things because people are getting sick, and they're, as to your point, they will die due
Yeah.
to some of these things. We'll end up with more homelessness.
Well, yeah, that's something no community wants to see. We have such a housing crisis across the state right now, and cities are stepping up, and as we should. I understand. I do believe in local control. So the Grange listeners, hear me out. I do
Hmm.
believe in that. But places like Danbury that want to welcome more housing, and we want to build more housing, but we don't need to have other things put on us that create a bigger crisis where we can't even keep up with the demand that we have now, and that's what's coming down the road. If we can all come together and find that humanity, and wanting to help each other out, then who are we as a country? We've always been a country that have helped others and helped ourselves. We could talk about geopolitics and what soft power means for us in our governance, but really we should be
Huge.
talking about when we open our doors, what it means for our neighbors and for us. So I really
Absolutely.
hope that we come together and we find a new direction in 2 years.
Thank you, Roberto. Anybody listening, I've been on with Roberto Alves. He's the mayor of Danbury, also the chairman of the Connecticut Democratic Committee. We share absolutely the same values of humanity, doing the right thing for one another. And we have a lot of stuff coming at us. And thank goodness you're at the helm and you're helping people out. Roberto, thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll have more to talk about soon.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity. And I love what you're doing because, again, you hear me say it over and over, it's about community, and you are the prime example of community. So thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. All right, anybody listening, we're going to go to station break. After that, we have Fred Camillo, our first selectman of Greenwich, coming on the show. So stay tuned.